She hid her white wolf for 7 years, until they forced her to shift in front of the Alpha King. Welcome to the story, King, where legends come alive. The silver chains bit into Sera's wrists as they dragged her across the throne room's marble floor. Her heart hammered against her ribs, not from fear of the chains, but from what they would discover in the next few minutes. 7 years. She had hidden it for 7 years, living as a wolfless outcast, enduring the mockery, the isolation, the crushing loneliness, all to keep her secret safe. Now, it was about to end. Kneel before the Alpha King, Commander Riker's voice boomed through the chamber. Sera's knees hit the cold marble with a crack that echoed through the vast hall. She kept her eyes lowered, feeling the weight of hundreds of gazes upon her. The Council of Elders sat in their high-backed chairs, their faces carved from disapproval and suspicion. Pack members lined the walls, whispering, always whispering. And there, on the obsidian throne, sat him, Alpha King Kale Stormborn. Even without looking up, Sera could feel the intensity of his presence, a pressure in the air itself, as if the room bowed to his authority. She had seen him only twice in her life, both times from a distance. He was a legend wrapped in flesh, the youngest Alpha King in history, undefeated in battle, ruthless to enemies and traitors alike. Sera Ashwood. His voice rolled through the chamber like distant thunder, deep and commanding. You stand accused of treason, of conspiring with rogues from the northern wastes, of passing pack secrets to our enemies. Her jaw clenched. The accusations were fabricated, planted by those who wanted her gone. She was an easy target, the girl without a wolf, the embarrassment to her bloodline, the weakest link. I've done nothing wrong, she said quietly, finally raising her eyes to meet his. The moment the gazes locked, something shifted in the air. His eyes were the color of amber flames, fierce and penetrating, and for a heartbeat, she saw something flicker across his features. Surprise, recognition. It vanished so quickly she might have imagined it. The evidence suggests otherwise. Elder Moira spoke from her seat, her voice dripping with false sweetness. A letter bearing your seal was found in a rogue's possession. Detailed information about our patrol routes, our defenses. My seal was stolen 3 months ago. I reported it to the guard. Convenient, Riker interrupted, sneering. The wolfless girl suddenly has enemies. You're barely worth the attention. Laughter rippled through some of the crowd. Sera's nails dug into her palms, drawing blood. She had grown accustomed to the ridicule, but it never stopped burning. There is one way to prove your innocence, Elder Thaddeus announced, leaning forward with gleaming eyes. Submit to the Alpha King's judgment. Shift before him. Let your wolf, if you have one, be examined by his authority. A wolf cannot lie. If you are innocent, your wolf will show no taint of betrayal. The room fell silent. Sera's blood turned to ice. This was it, the moment she had dreaded for 7 years. If she refused, she would be executed as a traitor. If she shifted, her voice caught in her throat. She can't shift, someone called out. Everyone knows she's defective. Then she'll die as a traitor, another voice agreed. Enough. The single word from Kale silenced the entire room. He rose from his throne, descending the steps with predatory grace. Each footfall seemed to make Sera's heart beat faster. He stopped 3 feet away from her, towering, imposing. You have hidden something, Sera Ashwood. I can sense it. Her breath hitched. Could an Alpha King sense what she had buried so deep? I won't force you, he continued, his voice lower now, meant only for her ears despite the audience. But if you run from this, you run forever. Is that the life you want? She looked up at him, searching his face for cruelty, for the eagerness to see her fail. Instead, she found something unexpected, curiosity, interest, and beneath it, something that almost looked like concern. No one had looked at her like that in 7 years. Sera drew in a shaking breath. She had survived this long by being invisible, by being nothing. But she was tired of hiding, tired of being weak. Step back, she whispered. Kale's eyebrows rose fractionally, but he moved back several paces, gesturing for the guards to do the same. Sera stood on trembling legs, the chains clinking. She closed her eyes, reaching deep inside herself, past the walls she had constructed so carefully, past the locks and barriers, down to the part of her soul she had caged. "I'm sorry," she whispered to the presence within. "I know I trapped you. But I need you now." The response was immediate and overwhelming. A surge of power so intense it drove her to her knees. She gasped, her body convulsing as the shift began. But this wasn't like the clumsy, painful transformations she had witnessed from others. This was eruption. White light exploded from her body, forcing everyone in the room to shield their eyes. The chains shattered like glass. Sera's scream transformed into a howl that shook the very foundations of the palace, a sound of such pure, primal power that several pack members stumbled backward in instinctive fear. When the light faded, silence gripped the throne room like a vice. Where Sera had knelt, now stood a wolf. But not just any wolf. She was massive, larger than any wolf present, including the Alpha King's own beast. Her fur was white as fresh snow, unmarked by any other color, and it seemed to shimmer with its own inner light. Her eyes had transformed to pools of liquid silver, ancient and knowing. Power radiated from her invisible waves, making the air itself seem to bend around her presence. "Impossible," Elder Moira breathed, her face drained of all color. "A white wolf, a true white wolf." The legends spoke of white wolves, born once in 1,000 years, marked by the moon goddess herself, bearers of extraordinary power. They were myth, fantasy, children's tales told under full moons. Yet here one stood, magnificent and terrible, in the Alpha King's throne room. Sera's wolf turned her silver gaze upon the elders who had condemned her, and they shrank back in their seats. She took one step forward, and several pack members actually fled from the room. But she wasn't interested in them. Her eyes found Kale. The Alpha King stood motionless, his expression unreadable. Then, slowly, deliberately, he inclined his head, a gesture of respect from one powerful being to another. Sera's wolf approached him, each step measured, until they stood face to face. She was nearly as tall as his human form. They regarded each other in silence, the air between them crackling with energy. Then Kale did something that made the entire room gasp. He knelt. The Alpha King, who bowed to no one, took a knee before the white wolf. "You are no traitor," he said quietly. "You are salvation. You are power incarnate, and you have been hiding in my territory, suffering abuse and mockery, for 7 years." His voice hardened with anger, not at her, but for her. "Why?" Sera shifted back, the transformation smooth and painless now that her wolf was free. She stood before him, breathing hard, tears streaming down her face. "Because the last white wolf was hunted," she whispered, "captured by those who wanted her power. They tortured her, trying to steal her essence, to drain her gift. She died screaming in a cage, alone." Sera's voice broke. "My mother told me the stories, made me promise to hide, to never let anyone know what I was. Because power makes you a target, and I was just a girl who wanted to survive." Kale's jaw tightened. He stood, closing the distance between them, and to everyone's shock, he reached out and gently wiped a tear from her cheek. "No one will cage you," he said, and the promise in his voice was absolute. "Not while I draw breath. Your Majesty, surely you don't intend to," Elder Thaddeus began. "Be silent." Kale didn't even glance at him. His eyes remained locked on Sera. "You've lived in fear long enough. You've hidden your light, diminished yourself, allowed yourself to be treated as lesser." His hand moved to cup her face, the gesture surprisingly tender from the fearsome king. "No more." "I don't understand," Sera whispered. "I have been searching," Kale said softly, "for 3 years. The moon goddess came to me in a vision, told me my true mate would be hidden, suffering, right under my nose. That I would know her by her courage and her sacrifice." His thumb traced her jawline, and Sera's breath caught by her white wolf. The throne room erupted in shocked murmurs. "You're saying she's—" Riker started. "My mate," Kale confirmed, his voice ringing with authority. "My queen, and anyone who has raised a hand against her, who has mocked her, who has made her life torment for the past 7 years," his eyes swept across the crowd, and his aura flared with lethal promise, "will answer to me personally." The room went deathly quiet. Sera stared at him, overwhelmed. "I'm not. I can't be." "You are," Kale said, and now his expression softened into something breathtaking, a smile, small but genuine, that transformed his harsh features. "I can feel it, the bond, can't you?" And now that her wolf was free, now that the walls were down, Sera could feel it. A golden thread connecting her heart to his, thrumming with warmth and belonging and coming home. "I feel it," she breathed. Kale's hand slid to the back of her neck, drawing her closer. "Then stop hiding, Sera Ashwood. Stop running. Stand beside me. Rule beside me." His voice dropped to an intimate whisper. "Let me spend the rest of my life making up for the 7 years you suffered alone." "That's quite a promise," she managed, her lips quirking despite everything. "I'm quite committed to keeping it," he murmured, and then his lips met hers. The kiss was soft at first, questioning, but when Sera responded, it deepened into something fierce and claiming. Power swirled around them, his dominance meeting her wild light, creating something entirely new. The mate bond snapped fully into place with an almost audible click, and Sera gasped against his mouth as warmth flooded through every cell of her being. When they finally broke apart, Kale turned to address the court, keeping Sera tucked against his side, his arm possessive around her waist. "Hear me now," he announced. "Sera Ashwood is your lunar queen. Anyone who wishes to dispute this can challenge me directly." No one moved. As for the accusations of treason, his eyes found Elder Moira and Elder Thaddeus. "I believe we should investigate who truly fabricated that evidence, and why they were so desperate to see an innocent woman executed." Both elders paled. "I'll handle that personally," Kale continued darkly. "Guards, confine the elders to their quarters pending investigation." As the guards moved forward and chaos erupted, Kale turned back to Sera, his expression softening again into that rare smile. "Ready for your life to change?" he asked. Sera looked at this powerful male who had knelt before her, who had promised to protect her, who looked at her like she was precious beyond measure. She thought of her white wolf, finally free after 7 years in chains of her own making. She thought of the future stretching ahead, uncertain, probably dangerous, but no longer lonely. "I've been ready for 7 years, she said. Kale's answering smile was radiant. Her hiding was over, her life was just beginning, and the Alpha King had claimed his queen. Thank you for reading with the Story King, where every ending is just a new beginning.